Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, I'm going to do some shout outs that are long overdue. I received some shop cards over the last several weeks and I just haven't had a lot of time to do a shout out video, so I'm going to do that in this episode. So I don't have a build video today. I've been extremely busy, and the last video I did on the how to build your first model kit took quite a bit of time, and mostly in the editing process as well. Is just a lot of work, so I haven't made as much progress on my current builds, but I do have some more builds coming. I would like to do some more instructional videos though. In fact, I'm going to do one today because I noticed that I need to mix up another batch of my airbrush cleaner. So I thought, what a great time to show you guys what I use for cleaning my airbrushes. So first we'll get into the mail call, and then we'll get into how to mix up some inexpensive cleaner for your airbrushes. Okay, the first shop card I have is from Thomas over at the Model Hobbyist. Tom's got a really cool channel, lots of neat stuff going on there, lots of nice builds, also some 3D printing stuff. Go over and check Tom out, give him a sub, say hi, and let's just help grow his channel. So thanks a lot for the card, Thomas, and appreciate the kind words on the back, and thanks for being a part of this YouTube community. All right, on to the next one. Okay, this next card has been making the rounds. I've seen a lot of other folks doing shout-outs for it. This is the new 60s Rule shop card from Dan the Man. And this is a great channel. And I love the new card, Dan. Really nice that it's two-sided. I love the whole 60s thing going on. You've got some really great builds on there. He does all kinds of stuff. So if you haven't checked out Dan over at 60s Rule, go check him out. Give him a sub. And thanks so much for your contributions to the community, Dan. Okay, on to the next one. All right, and the next card is Big Charlie's Model Garage. Thanks for sending me the card, Charlie, and thanks for the kind words on the back. If you haven't checked out Charlie's channel, go check him out. Give him a like, give him a sub. Tell him Dave from Plastic Imagination Workshop said hi. Charlie's got some nice builds over there, a lot of big rigs, and he also does some die-cast stuff too. So if you haven't checked him out yet, go check him out and say hi. All right, that'll do it for the shop cards. I'm going to clean this up a little bit, and we'll be right back with how to mix up some airbrush cleaner. All right, so before we get started, I just want to say there are all sorts of airbrush cleaners out there in the market. There are other folks on YouTube and other places that will show you how to mix up their own homebrew version of this. I learned how to do this years ago, and I don't even honestly remember when or where I learned how to do it. But this works for me, and I hope it works for you. If you have your own custom mixture that you use, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. My main reason for doing it this way is it's inexpensive, it lasts a long time, and it's a lot cheaper than some of the products that are already designed out there. And also it's cheaper than using your airbrush thinner to clean out your airbrush, because this stuff isn't cheap and it can go through it pretty quick when you're trying to clean out an airbrush. Okay, so you might ask, why do I need an airbrush cleaner? Why? And the question is this: if you take care and keep your airbrushes clean, they will last you a long time and they won't cause you as many problems. I won't say they won't cause you any problems, because anyone who's been airbrushing out there knows that sometimes airbrushes are just problematic. It's just the nature of airbrushing. They're not perfect all the time, but if you keep it clean and take care of it, it will be fairly trouble-free and last you a long time. Also, it's very easy to keep a clean airbrush clean as opposed to trying to clean a dirty airbrush. So my rule of thumb is, when I'm done using my airbrush, I rinse it out and then I clean it. That way the next time I'm ready to use it, it's ready to go. Now, if I'm spraying several colors and I need to go from color to color to color fairly quickly, I have a process for quickly changing colors in my airbrush, so I don't have to do a full clean every time. And I may do that in a follow-up video. If you'd like to see a video on that or general airbrushing video, please let me know in the comments and I'll see if I can put one together for everybody. Okay, so let's get started. What are you going to need? Well, you won't need any airbrush thinner. I just had those out here to to make sure I remember to mention that, you don't have to use airbrush thinner to clean your airbrush. So what you will need is you will need some distilled water, and I buy it in a jug, but I just keep some in a bottle handy. You will also need some Windex or Windex other brand. This one says it's comparable to Windex. It's inexpensive. It's basically a multi-surface streak-free glass cleaner. The other thing you're going to need is some rubbing alcohol. It can be 70% or it can be 90%. I haven't seen a difference either way, and I've used both. But right now I've got 70% rubbing alcohol, and that's what we'll use. The other thing that you need to pick up is a small bottle of glycerin. Now you can get this I think I found this at the grocery store. You may have to look around for it, but basically it's a lubricant. And what I do with this is I just put a few drops in this after I get everything mixed up, and the glycerin actually keeps your airbrush from getting, if it's going to sit for a while, on mine anyways, it keeps them from getting locked up or keeps the needle from getting stuck in there. It's just a very thin lubricant, and it works well. All right, the other thing you're going to need is a funnel and a container to mix up your homebrew airbrush cleaner. Now, I don't have the exact size of this bottle. I don't even remember where I got this bottle, but basically you're going to do 1 part Windex and about 2 parts of water, and then you're going to do about a 1/4 part of alcohol, and then a few drops of the glycerin. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I have a little bit left, and that's okay. It does not have to be empty. But we're just going to mix it up. Again, this isn't a scientific thing. It's not an exact science. We're just getting a combination of the individual items here, and they work well. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is add the Windex. So we'll just take our top off our Windex. We'll get our funnel here, and I'm just going to add a little Windex to here till it gets about to the line. All right, so there's our Windex. Set that aside. Okay, next is going to be our water. All right, now you'll see there's a lot of bubbles in here from the Windex and the water. That's okay. Just make sure you get your solid level right around wherever you're going to mark it. You'll see here in a second when I add the alcohol what happens to the bubbles. All right, now we're going to add our alcohol. All right, and as you can see there, when we added the alcohol to the mix, the bubbles just dissipated. I'm not sure why that does that. It's kind of cool, I think, for some reason. Okay, let's take this off. Now we're going to take our glycerin. Whoops, the lid's kind of stuck there. We're just going to put a couple drops. You don't need a lot of this. 1, 2, 3, 4. That looks good. All right, then we just put our lid on. Make sure your lid's on there good. And then I don't shake it. I just kind of roll it back and forth a little bit. All right, and that is it. It's that simple. Now you have a nice big bottle of airbrush cleaner. Now, the way that I do my cleaning, and that's what this bottle over here is for. So, this is your typical airbrush. So what I will do is when I'm done using my airbrush, and I'm going to be done for the day or the week or whatever it might be, the first thing I do is I empty out any paint that's left in the pot. I take a spray bottle with just water in it, and I adjust this so it's a really fine, I don't know if you could see that, it's a very fine stream, and it's a strong stream. And what I do is I just use this and I just spray it right in the cup. Now the strong stream breaks up a lot of whatever's left in the cup from the paint, and for the most part you can get most of it out just doing that. After I've got most of the paint out, and again I'm just using water, I'll spray this in here, fill the cup, and I'll blow the water through the airbrush. Then I always take this off and make sure my needle is clean. I also pull my needle out, I make sure it's clean and I wipe it off. Also make sure this part here is clean, and then when I put it back in here, always watch when I push it through, if there is paint that gets pushed out, excuse me, if there is paint on the needle that gets pushed out when I put it through, then I know it's not really clean yet, so I'll run some more water through it. If there's a lot of paint and it started to dry in here, I will use paint thinner to get that broken loose and get that cleaned out. And I also, for the most part, airbrush thinner is airbrush thinner, but if you're using a Mission Models paint, I suggest you use their thinner. I've just found it works better. It also works on Vallejo and other brands, but Vallejo airbrush thinner works well also for just about anything really, but for Mission Models, I use their airbrush thinner. It just cuts it better. Okay, so once I've got my cup cleaned out, I'm pretty sure there's no paint in there anywhere, then I will use my airbrush thinner. And I'll basically just squirt some in the cup. I will use let me put this back on before I stab my finger. I will cover up the end and run air through it, which will backwash the thinner back in here and back up through the cup. And I just do that several times until it comes out clean. And then once my brush is clean, after using this, I can set it aside and leave it, and it's good to go. The next time I pick this up, it'll be ready to go, and I just add my paint and go. Now, I will say, when you're doing this, when you're spraying water through your airbrush, it's not as much of a big deal. But once you start cleaning thinner or your cleaner through an airbrush, you should really make sure you wear a mask or be in a well-ventilated area. Because when you're running chemicals through the airbrush, it's atomizing it, is what it's doing. So you're atomizing alcohol and Windex, you're atomizing it, and then you can breathe that, and it's not good to breathe. If you have one of these, that's great too, because you can spray it in here and it has a filter. It kind of filters out the particles, so you're not getting them into the air as much. But if you're going to be cleaning out a lot, I suggest you get a mask. And it could be a really good, what are those, N95 masks or whatever, that we all got used to wearing during COVID times. Or it could be a respirator mask if you want to go out, and there's some fairly inexpensive ones on the market. The one I picked up was about, I think it was 50 bucks. It's made by 3M. It works really good. But if you don't have a mask, just be in a well-ventilated area, or if you have a paint booth with an exhaust fan, use that. You just don't want to breathe the atomized particulates. Okay, so that'll do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I was able to teach you something. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. Also, if you would like to get one of my shop cards, my email is in the description below. Shoot me an email and your address and I'll get a card shipped out to you. If you like this video, please like, please subscribe, and if you'd like to see more instructional videos, let me know in the comments. I will have some more builds coming up soon. And as always, be safe out there and go build something.